Hello and welcome back to the ATMA podcast, where we give you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to be successful. My name is Brian, and I'll be your host today. And we've got our wonderful Gen Z interns here. Say hello, ladies.
Hi, I'm Ivy.
And I'm Bree.
And they are back with vengeance again to talk about toxicity, which is funny because I feel like everything that they post on the internet is pretty toxic, in my opinion, especially what we talked about. We were talking about, she's already laughing because she already said, we were talking about how they're dark humor, and I went on social media last week, and we recently had those issues with recently the news came out with the billionaires that were on the submarine and they went undersea, and of course unfortunately they died. And how did that go on the internet, Ivy? Honestly, I saw those memes on there and I said, this is Gen Z.
Yeah, it's just, it goes back to the things that I said. Like, if there's something that happens in the world and it's just a little bit outlandish, people will definitely go at it. I don't know if you've seen the memes, but Oh,
I've seen the memes.
Yeah.
I have seen the memes.
Yeah, it'll be like, they'll talk about, like, if somebody else was in that submarine or, like, somebody that they find attractive, then they're, like, head first.
And
go ahead,
I was just going to say, they're like, oh, the Titanic's still claiming lives, like, after 100 years.
Yeah, that was funny.
I was telling Ruben, because Ruben was like, hey, they have a pickup line. I think you were in the room. Were you here in the room for that?
I probably was. I hear a lot of weird things.
Okay, well, Ruben, who's millennial, I guess, is being brainwashed by our interns here. And he was like, he had a pickup line. There's like a new pickup line now because of the submarine. You didn't hear? You at Gen Z didn't hear, Mom?
I was there.
No, I want to hear it. Wait,
it was something about like, man, I must be a billionaire or something because you just took my breath away.
It's kind of a mid pickup line.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It was kind of raunchy, But I was just like, you fit right in with this Gen Zers, I guess.
No,
Side eye.
No, that was definitely millennial. Like, you could tell that was definitely.
That was millennial, so you can tell if it was a millennial joke.
Who would make a pickup line out of what happened with the submarine?
Oh, okay, all right.
Like, it's just kind of goofy,
So we're talking about toxicity. Chuggy, okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about toxicity. See, this is a prime example. So toxic. This podcast is so toxic now. All right, so let's get back to the topic here and get into environmental consciousness and Gen Z's emotional influence. Now, you ladies are the ones that are putting together these topics, and what made you guys want to talk about this?
So around the world, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening with like global warming and wildfires and stuff like that. So as our world has easily come down to something that hasn't been at its prime, people became more aware of that, especially Gen Z. And so when it comes to certain products or things that you make as a business, it goes back to what you're getting that from. So environmental consciousness, which deals with animal cruelty, where you're getting your products and how your products are tested. And that also goes hand in hand, like we talked about the past few episodes, with emotional influence.
So you talk about animal cruelty. What's funny about that is I think it's true too, because I don't know if you guys are like comic book fans or not, or you guys watch movies.
Yeah, I've watched movies.
I mean, yeah, but like, do you watch comic book movies like Marvel and stuff like that? Or not?
I actually love Marvel. I'm not gonna lie.
I've seen all the movies.
Okay. So you guys recently saw the new Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
No, I was going to very soon. Don't spoil it.
How am I not going to spoil it? We're on a podcast. All right, I'm going to do a slight spoiler. The only thing I'm going to talk about is that they do shed some light to animal cruelty, right? That's actually, Rocket's, background. So I think that's important in their marketing aspect, is because, a lot of people avoided these type of topics, especially in cinema, right? Mm-hmm. And them pointing out, having this such a big name as Guardians of the Galaxy, we already know the Avengers and how much success they've had, and going to this animal cruelty and pointing light to it, I think that it did attract a lot of Gen Zers as well to watch this movie, because obviously it's an important topic, right? And so you talk about environmental consciousness and an emotional influence. Like, what is it that, and what should businesses be aware of when they're producing content, especially since we're talking about environmental consciousness and emotional influence? What should we be thinking about as we produce content?
So, honestly, a great way to just get that out there is if you're obviously animal cruelty free, just let your audience know. I mean, they'll easily be able to find out. Like, as we said, we're kind of like, Gen Z's kind of like FBI, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, it's good to just go out there and be like, yeah, like, we're animal cruelty free. And that's just one thing to know, because people will keep tabs on that, and they'll appreciate that you're animal cruelty free.
And I think another thing is being sustainable. So do you use a lot of non-sustainable products in your product in order to manufacture it, or in your service? Are you contributing to something that could harm the environment? And I feel like people, you know, it's a big deal in Gen Z. At least in my college campus, there's so many sustainability efforts there, and I know a lot of people are very turned off if you use a lot of plastic, like single-use plastics, or if you're doing something that's polluting the earth in some way. And I see a lot of brands now, especially with fashion, because fast fashion is a really big problem. They're now putting on their items, like in big tags, that they are sustainable and that they recycle. And so I feel like that is a really big thing now, is to make sure that beyond your audience, that you're not affecting someone negatively in any way.
So one thing we talk about examples, each of you guys, and I don't want to make this like about an animal show or anything like that, but you know, as we talk about this topic, I was just thinking about how much of it affects like pet food is now. Okay, I don't know if you guys have done any research of pet food or anything like that, or Bree, you have any pets?
I do. I have a
Okay.
dog, and she is crazy. My goodness.
Ivy,
So
you just
crazy.
got a cat, right?
We just open our arms to a stray cat. It's just like my dad. I mean, I don't want to go off topic or anything, but my dad is definitely not a pet person. And the fact that he wakes up every morning cuddling that cat is just...
There's a whole meme about that, too. Like, when dads get a pet, they're like, oh, I don't want that. And then they're always best friends with the pet.
Oh, yeah. No, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's always the parents. Even, this is not just a Gen Z. It's been a millennial thing, okay? So, like, when my parents did not want dogs, and when we brought dogs home and actually had, you know, they're the ones that fell in love and you know, obviously became, you know, more and attached to the dogs than they thought they were going to be. But it's funny that we talk about this, because you talk about as a pet owner, okay, we start to evaluate what's going on in the foods. And of course, because of COVID, there's been all kinds of saturation, food saturation, and we started to notice that things are not things in animal products are causing all kinds of problems. Now, I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theories about how, you know, these products are now starting cancer. I don't want to get into that, because it's not what this podcast show is about. But I do want to let you know, our viewers know that these products are getting backlash, and I believe it's coming from Generation Z and millennials now that are getting involved in researching what is actually in these products. And I think that's what you guys are talking about too, is you guys are researching how these makeups are made, how these products are made, how your food is made now. Like, I think it's becoming a huge deal now, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing people like saying, oh, this is fast fashion. You don't know how that works. This is really terrible, because the way that they manufacture is that they, you know, essentially have child labor in countries that are like undeveloped, and then these children are going to have to go to work, and it's horrible working conditions there. And I've seen a lot of companies get backlash for that. And I've also seen, I think it was Blue Apron, and they had to like come out and redo their product and everything because of the plastic use that they had in their product, and people were getting very upset about that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I even saw this thing where the Sprite, like, plastic bottles, they used to be green. And then, like, when, like, pictures of, like, pollution and, like, all the plastic in the ocean, you could visibly see the green bottles and know by a second that was a Sprite bottle. So then they changed their bottles to clear so that people wouldn't backlash them as much.
Interesting. All right, I didn't know that. That's some good. Got some good content. Okay, so basically, we're talking about environmental, but it goes back to you guys as Generation Z, and I think everybody. I mean, we talk about Gen Z, but I think everybody is now starting to do more research of how they're delivering their service or product, and who are you as a business to see if you actually could fit. And I think that's starting to alter the entire economy, wouldn't you think? Like even taking a look at all these different type of service-based businesses. Like we're a service-based business, but even other service-based businesses. Are you guys now doing research on these companies? Are you actually seeing what they're all about before even doing business with them?
Yeah, for sure. I think this is very cliche of me, but one thing that I usually do is I'll go to TikTok and I'll search up the company name, and you'll find like various amount of videos discussing on whether they like the service, if they don't like it, what's good, what's bad. And like if it's a bad review over like the service or the product, I mean it'll be bad, right?
Oh, okay. So we talk about Google reviews a lot with our businesses. So you're saying now people are actually taking this to social media channels and actually discussing it on TikTok, and business owners aren't aware because obviously they're older generation now. And so what you're saying is businesses actually now need to do a search on their own business on TikTok now.
Yeah, because like we said, TikTok has just overflew Gen Z by a milestone. So TikTok for me, that's where I find all my reviews. And like on TikTok, there's no filter. Nobody really cares. It's Gen Z. And so like we've said the past few episodes, we're there to tell you what we think. And we don't really care if we're going to hurt your feelings or not.
Yeah, I see it on Instagram too, like in the comments, and I'll read it. And if I see a bad review, I kind of become suspicious of the product, especially if it's very detailed. And some of them are super detailed. People have no filter. And there's product reviews, specifically like product review videos on TikTok and on Instagram.
That's interesting because we were talking about doing a final episode, which we will. We'll get to it. And just tying all this together, but it's coming into this big picture of the customer journey pyramid, which is on our website, which has the 5 stages, right? Awareness, engagement, conversion, delight, and advocation. And advocation can go both ways. It could be advocating that this product is great, or it could also be advocating that this product or service is a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so so people don't take in account, the delight, which we'll talk in the last episode, is you have to be able to delight your customers. So that being said, ladies, thank you guys for joining us again on the show and giving us some insight on environmental consciousness and emotional influence. Guys, I hope you guys are getting a lot from these ladies, and we're going to be continuing this conversation on how to communicate and understand Gen Z and what they're looking for when it comes to marketing. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Brian, and we will see you next time.